Welcome back to Face to Face. I'm excited to be here talking with students, faculty, and staff innovators about what they're working on and how they're making a difference in the world. My guest today is doing big things here at UC Davis, including overseeing more than 6,500 meals being prepared every day at UC Davis Health, all while disrupting what people think of as hospital food. His direction and creativity are so unique, he earned UC Davis Health its first James Beard Foundation Award for hospital food. He was the executive chef for the Kings, as well as for Super Bowl 50, and is leading this year's Tower Bridge Dinner in Sacramento. Please join me in welcoming Chef Santana Diaz. Great to have you here with us, Chef.
Great to be here.
Well, as you know, at Face to Face, we want to learn a little about you, and we're going to ask you some questions, and you can ask me some questions later on. So first, just tell me a little bit about yourself and how you became a chef.
You know what? I'd have to say it has to come from my family. My upbringing, cooking with grandma, mom, family functions. One of my uncles was a farmer. I come from a family of ranchers and farmers in Mexico. I'm the first generation born here in the United States. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when it comes down to it, food's always kind of been a part of my life.
Yeah, that food is key. We all need it, right?
Right. We all have that personal relationship with it.
Well, tell me about how you think food affects us.
Well, food is important. It affects all of us in many ways. And I think that food's really intimate for all of us. We all have a relationship. We all have our favorites. Your favorite food may not be the same as my favorite food, and same for everyone even listening. So we have that intimate relationship. And so in how we treat food is really important because it plays into our health.
Well, how have you connected with our community through food and through community nutrition?
Well, we've connected multiple ways, actually. It's from procurement, from how we source and where we purchase our food from the ranchers, farmers that we have in the bounty of this region, in our Sacramento region. We touch 7 different counties. And then, we also support a lot of programs within the state of here in California. I mean, we're known for our agriculture. And so why not source it as close to the source as we can, which in this case benefits Sacramento and our region here. So financially, by keeping our dollars into our local economy, by purchasing locally, at the same time educating people through patient care and also our staff that are eating there. We have a staff of over 10,000 at the hospital.
Wow!
So we can impact a lot of people who take those messages home.
Yeah, that's impressive. Your program at UC Davis Health has been a contributor and a mechanism for systemic change in the community with respect to food. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, sure. When we look at the food system as a whole and we look at the volume that we're doing on a daily basis, day to day to day, the 6,500 meals that you mentioned earlier, the hospital never closes. It just doesn't stop, right? Even during our pandemic times, we were needed, we were on those front lines and kept going. So the meals kept going, which created a sustainable procurement value to our community for the ranchers and farmers we're buying from. So when some places were experiencing, whether it was freight issues or getting products into their facilities, we actually experienced no issues with respect to our food because we were procuring from within the state and a lot of it from within a couple hundred miles. And so what it did was we started looking at what does that mean? And so we start looking at source transparency and maybe looking at the system as a whole. It gets very complicated and, we tread lightly on things. There are contracts and policies, of course, and advocacy,
sure,
right? All involved, right? But it's about the staying power, right? So if we can prove and show through, case studies per se on how we're working with certain patients, whether it be cardiology or oncology, and studying their diet and looking at what we're providing them and thinking and seeing if this cleaner, healthier, source transparent food, can it actually reduce readmissions in the future?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Can we create a proactive approach through our food program to help, future readmissions and reduce that number? Because I'm sure you're well aware, I don't think that the nation's building another 100,000 hospitals right now.
No, unfortunately not.
So what we have to do is look at it and use, the avenue or use food as that opportunity or an intervention, if you will, right? to say, okay, 3 interventions a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Can we provide, a solution rather than it just be the stigma of plain, bland food, right? Hospital food, and actually provide something that looks and tastes great and encourages a behavioral change in the future.
Yeah, promote healthy nutritional habits. Yeah, keep people out of the hospital.
Right.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
I have, Santana, I have one walk-on question. I don't want to put you on the spot, but we've talked about this before. My wife, Lachelle, is a big fan of the show Chopped. And I know that you were invited to be on Chopped at one time, and you turned it down. She's still upset with you. Can you tell her something about what your thinking was, and if there's any hope for you being on Chopped in the future?
You know what? It's interesting because if we're able to do this in the future, maybe go on that show if invited or selected to go back on it. It's really important for our food program to keep going. The momentum's right now. And so I think it's really important to take advantage of these opportunities, of the momentum and people's attention and the education that's been thrown out there about healthy food and source transparency. So maybe you could let Lachelle know that it might happen in the future. It's just it's just on pause.
Okay. I hope she's watching. She doesn't watch for me. She may watch now that you're the guest. So I'm a big fan of the Tower Bridge dinner. So I've got to know what's on the menu for this year.
So this is the sneak peek on some of this. I know that the release of the menu hasn't been done yet, but what we've been able to come up with, it will be 5 courses, and we will do a plated entree during this dinner. It was successfully executed 2 years ago for the first time as a single plated dinner or plated meal course. When you do a plated course for 823, the logistics to play that out is it can be challenging. So of course, starting with the local flair and bounty of the greens and the fruits that are available, and a lot of pickling and preserving of what's available would be starting that off. Going into a seafood or freshwater dish, going into we mentioned it before, was a duck dish, right? So that's going to be a challenge. And then going into a whole food plant-based dish. So a lot of these dishes, what we're looking at is trying to make sure that people can really understand that good food doesn't necessarily have to be unhealthy. And then when we're looking at our sourcing and the great talent of our chefs that are involved in this dinner, it's going to be great. And we would wrap it up with a duet, with a beef duet. So.
Wow, it sounds great. Duck is one of my favorite foods. So now I'm really looking forward to it. And of course, food is medicine. So that's what you eat is very important. So how has what we're doing influenced others? You've been so innovative. Has our methodology spread?
Great question, Chancellor May. It's interesting how everything has started to unfold. Great relationships have started to blossom, right? They were planted. These are seeds that were planted years ago, and now they're really starting to sprout. And so one of them in particular is our interesting relationship with Sac City Unified School District. Mm-hmm. So Sac City Unified School District just completed, opened the doors of their new central kitchen. Sac City Unified School District will do roughly 30,000 meals a day. The processing that they have and the equipment that they have is great, and it's actually things that we need in the hospital, right? So when we look at being fiscally responsible at an institutional scale with our program, I started looking outside of the box, or better yet, like there is no box, and think about how can we accomplish this program by being fiscally responsible and also benefiting the community. What this program will aim to do, and our partnership and relationship with Sac City Unified School District, is looking to have them process and cut, say, our pre-cut vegetables, right? We don't have the staffing or the labor, structure or budget, if you will. We do have to be mindful of money. It's not like, this is an unlimited program. So when we look at how we can create that or how I can fulfill that need, I started looking at the school district and speaking with their director and their executive chef there and asking them, hey, would it be possible? Is it possible that if we were to procure food from the same farm and take it there to your facility and have it cut and then delivered to our facility because they've been innovative with their distribution plan. Is that even possible? And it is. And so what that's turning into is supporting more jobs because the school district isn't open in the summer, right? But now if we, again, going back to our program, never closing, never stopping, we are a consistent buyer and they now can supply us. And so it would be potentially creating more jobs within our community.
That is completely consistent with our service mission as the university. So I couldn't be happier to hear some of that. Now, you've been at UC Davis Health for a few years now. Tell me what you're proud of during your tenure here. What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of the team, right? The camaraderie of the team and how we've been coming together, right? Change is difficult. The stigma of hospital food was real, although that, the team before I came on to the food nutrition services team, they were doing a phenomenal job with the food they were providing and the food that they were giving for staff and guests and visitors. The difference was just a shift. We shifted our procurement. We start off with that 16.46% local and sustainable spend. And within 18 months, we were able to transition into 41% local sustainable spend.
That's great.
Right. So the changes of how we were receiving food, whom we were receiving food from was a change for everyone. So I think the biggest accomplishment is coming together as a team and working collaboratively on menus that now change quarterly with the seasons, and really kind of getting together with them and thinking about what does the next dish look like for the next patient for said diet.
Yeah. Well, you made a big difference because I hear nothing but good things from our patients, from our staff.
We're trying.
It's really been appreciated. Okay, now this is one of my favorite parts of the show. We're going to play a little game we call Hot Seat. I'm going to ask you some really rapid fire questions, and we're looking for short, maybe one-word answers. So all set?
Okay.
All right, here we go. What is your go-to guilty pleasure food?
Oh, goodness. Ice cream.
Ice cream. Me too. Favorite bite in Davis or Sacramento?
Favorite bite?
Favorite bite.
I'd say sushi from Crew.
Sushi. Yeah, at Crew. Good choice. What did you want to be when you were young?
You know what? I wanted to be an attorney.
Okay. Chef, attorney? Not
Chef, attorney, yeah, you're kind of involved in all kinds of stuff.
Name one food that you can't live without.
Grandma's tortillas.
Grandma's tortillas. Everybody's grandma is such a good cook.
You know what? That's where it kind of all stems from, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, last one. Biggest surprise you've had this year?
Wow. Being chosen and asked to be the lead chef for the Tower Bridge dinner.
That's a big honor, and congratulations again.
No, that was a good one. It's the community benefit factor on that, and the involvement of inviting a hospital chef was a surprise.
Yeah. Well, it's great for you. It's great for UC Davis. We couldn't be more happy. Now it's your turn. You can ask me a question. Ask me anything on your mind.
Well, Chancellor, being that you've been so supportive of so many innovative programs as the Chancellor of UC Davis, I wanted to get your perspective on your thoughts of how our UC Davis Health Food Program impacts community and, how that shows that we're potentially like a good anchor institution.
That's a great question. So as with almost everything else, I see food equity through the equity lens, right? So I expect that our contributions to that community surrounding UC Davis Health will be to reduce inequity, make people see the value in food, nutritious value of food, enable our not just our staff, but the people we serve to see us as a positive influence on that particular topic. And I'm very pleased with how we are viewed now, and I think there's more to do in the future, and I'm pleased with your contribution to it. So thanks for the question. Thank you so much, Chef Santana Diaz. That wraps up another episode of Face to Face with Chancellor May. Thanks to you, Chef Diaz, and thanks to all of our viewers for watching. We'll see you next time here on Face to Face. Go Ags.